The Ashanti Region Police Command has launched a manhunt for 4 suspects wanted in a shooting incident at the Ashanti Regional Office of the Opposition National Democratic Congress in Kumasi. A statement released by the police named the 4 as members of a pro-NDC vigilante group known as the Hawks. The statement reads: the Ashanti Regional Police Command has launched an investigation into a shooting incident that took place at the regional office of the National Democratic Congress NDC at Kumasi, leaving 1 person dead and the other seriously injured. Preliminary investigation has it that there was an ongoing meeting between national executives of the party and its regional executives today, Monday, February 18, 2019. Whilst the meeting was in progress, gun-wielding men on motorbikes invaded the premises, shooting indiscriminately. Further information gathered at the scene indicated the 4 persons alleged to be members of the Hawks, a pro-NDC vigilante group, were behind the attack. So far, 4 suspects, namely Hussein Barnabas, aka Warrior, Damos, Mejima, and Abu Taliban, are being pursued by the police. Meanwhile, the crime scene has been cordoned off by the Regional Police Command to assist investigation. The Police Command is appealing to the general public to remain calm as it is working closely with NDC executives to get the perpetrators arrested. Anyone with information on the suspect should assist the police by volunteering information that can lead to their arrest. And the police administration expresses condolences to the deceased family and wishes the injured speedy recovery. Now, the Ashanti Region Police Command had earlier addressed a news conference to give details of what happened at the regional office of the National Democratic Congress. It was addressed by the Regional Public Relations Officer, Gordon Nahianyo.
Here in Kumasi, which led to 1 person dead and another person seriously injured. Preliminary investigation has it that there was an ongoing meeting between the national executives of the party and the regional executives. The national executives, the members were Mr. Samuel Ofoswampofu, who is the chairman of the party, and Mr. Johnson Esiedun Kataya, who is the general secretary, and other party functionaries. That was around 12:30 p.m. when gun-wielding men on motorbikes invaded the premises, shooting indiscriminately. Preliminary information gathered at the scene indicated that 4 persons alleged to be members of the Hawks, that is a pro-NDC vigilante group, were behind the attack. So far, the suspects' names have been given as Warrior, Damos, Mijima, and Abu Taliban. The police are pursuing these persons for their arrest. Meanwhile, the crime scene has been cordoned off. That is, the regional office of the party has been cordoned off by the police to enable us to conduct investigation at the scene. The police is, however, working closely with the executives of the party to get the perpetrators arrested. The command will use this medium to assure the executives that it will do all it can to get the perpetrators arrested. Meanwhile, the command expresses its condolences to the bereaved families and wishes the injured persons speedy recovery.
Well, as you heard, the General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, Johnson Esiedun Kataya, was at the meeting at the regional office of the National Democratic Congress when the incident happened. He has been speaking about the incident and has urged the police to thoroughly investigate it and bring the perpetrators to book.
He decided to go and meet the regional executives and hold a meeting with them to bring home the point that they should forget about their petty differences and let us concentrate to pull through a very successful and peaceful election. It was in the middle of the meeting that we heard some gunshots outside. We were in the meeting. When we heard the gunshots, then somebody rushed to bang our door and said that there has been some gunshots and some 2 people had been gunned down. So by the time we appeared from the meeting room, the perpetrators had left, and the eyewitnesses told us that they came on a motorbike, and then after gunning down those people, they escaped back on the motorbike. But the people who had been gunned down are party people. So they had been evacuated and then were on the way to the hospital. So we had to call the police. Regional commander indicated that he should bring in some police personnel to come and handle the situation. Whilst we also, myself and the national chairman, rushes to the hospital, Konfanochi Teaching Hospital, to see about the injured. Unfortunately, when we reached there, one had been pronounced dead and the other one is in intensive care. So meanwhile, the police have begun their investigations, and we have indicated that crime has no party colors. As we speak to you, we don't know who must have perpetrated this, but because of the presence of these eyewitnesses, I'm sure it will not be difficult for the police to get people to identify the perpetrators.
One of the eyewitnesses told us that the people on motorbikes who did this, they said categorically these are members of the Hawks. They claim to belong to the NDC. The police in the statement confirmed this eyewitness account. Is the party aware of these individuals being pro-MPP with the NDC Vigilante Group members?
That will help the police in conducting their investigation. So whoever they are, whether they are vultures or parrots or hawks, crime is crime. They should apprehend the person. Our only problem is that they should be able to identify the perpetrator, because we know the police in some cases will go and arrest innocent people. By the time they are prosecuted and found to be innocent, the actual perpetrators must have escaped. So they should use the leads provided by the eyewitnesses, and I'm sure they'll be able to identify the perpetrator. I am told that it is one person who shot the two people. So it is not about a group of persons or whatever.
Right, so the story as we have it so far is that one person is dead and one other person is in the hospital and in critical condition. We'll be going over to Kumasi to get the very latest on the state of that person in hospital. But former President John Mahama, who is seeking to lead the party in the 2020 election, has condemned the incident at the Ashanti Regional Office of the NDC and called on the police to investigate. His Facebook post, his post on Facebook a few hours ago reads, "I have just been briefed about a shooting incident that occurred in front of the Ashanti Regional Office of the NDC, leading to the death of one person and injury to another. I strongly condemn this incident. It is clearly a criminal act, and I call on the police and relevant security agencies to investigate immediately, apprehend the culprit, and subject them to the full rigors of the law." Now, Love FM's Erasmus Sasaridonko was at the NDC's Ashanti Regional Office shortly after the incident and spoke with an eyewitness.
There was some disturbances here at the regional party office just behind me, and if you could see on the floor here, covered with sand, that is the blood of somebody who was just shot this afternoon. And what we are gathering is that there was a regional executive meeting this afternoon in that office. And then out here to my right, we had members of a group called the Hawks. And they came, pitched camp right here. And then we had members of the NDC task force also came and pitched camp on the other end. I have an eyewitness here who I would like to go through what happened here.
National executives and the regional executive are having their meeting inside. So we realized that they are waiting for a minute. So all of us were sitting here, but the Hawks were here with their motorbikes in front of this container. Okay. They were here. We don't know what brought them inside, because officially they are not affiliated with the party. So one of them, I hear him saying that, what you are in Hausa language, why you are saying we are all brothers, why do you want to create this kind of thing once there's nothing between us? So from there, I don't know what the other guy said. He turned his back to talk to them as a brothers. So that's where I see the other guy remove a gun and shot his leg instantly. So he rushed to hold his hand so that he will not shot again.
The one who was shot rushed to hold his hand?
And he was shot. So he rushed to hold the hand of the guy so that the gun would not be faced to him or shot again. All of us, as eyewitnesses, were sitting here. We realized that when the gunshot was, we wanted to rush so that we can save him. So that was where the other guy, because there were many, and they turned on the other, only one guy, about 8 or 10 of them.
So if I get you correctly, this guy shot him in the thigh.
Yes.
As he was trying to run towards the party office, he shot him in the back again.
Yes,
and then came
chest.
Closer to shoot him again.
In the chest.
So 3 times?
3 times.
Currently, the party office is under lock and key. And as you can see in your shot, we are having armed policemen, dispatch riders manning the place at the moment. They are sitting in front of it. We have quite a number of supporters who are also gathered here, trying to make sense of what happened here.
Well, let's get on the line now. I speak with Love Films and Asenso for the very latest. Hello, Asenso. What's the latest on the second victim of the shooting incident who is on admission in hospital?
Israel, the second victim who was injured following this afternoon's fatal incident, is in a critical condition at the Confirmatory Teaching Hospital, specifically at the Accident and Emergency Center. My source from the hospital has revealed that the suspect is in a critical condition, the victim is in a critical condition, and at the moment is suffering from internal bleeding. According to my source, the victim is being prepared for urgent surgery, but space has been a problem. Israel, there are 4 main theaters at the A&E, at the Confirmatory Teaching Hospital, but they are all occupied. That is what my source tells me. But the doctors are trying hard to prepare this victim, who is known as Moro. Also, people call him West. So they are trying to prepare Moro for the surgery. And until then, the victim, Moro, is still in shock and bleeding and gasping for breath to help himself to survive. Israel.
All right, so you tell us that Moro is the one who is in critical condition. Now, what do we know about the gentleman who was killed? Who are they?
The 2 victims actually suffered this afternoon's incident. The 2 gentlemen who were shot today at the NDC headquarters during their national executive meeting, they are all from Asawase in the Ashanti region, and they belong to the NDC party. Wasiu Abdul is the victim who died at the spot, and he's within the ages of 30 and 35 years, Israel. And the other one, who is currently receiving medical attention at the A&E, is also known as Moro. He's also within the same age bracket, Israel.
Right, these members of the Hawks, the police say, were behind the attack. What more can you tell us about them?
Israel, the Hawks, what I can say is that the Hawks is one of the vigilante groups of the NDC. They are the same gang, if you can recall, they are the same gang who besieged the NDC Regional Congress last year at Kumau and caused disturbances at the premises. That was my first encounter with the group. But what I can confirm is that the Hawks is a group of well-built men who work for the opposition party, NDC, Israel.
All right, thank you very much, Nana Sensumensa, bringing us that update from Kumasi on the incident this afternoon at the regional office of the National Democratic Congress. And we're staying with the National Democratic Congress because the Ashanti region chairman of the party is insisting the party has no plans to disband its vigilante groups and that it is rather looking at creating more of such groups to protect its votes in the 2020 election. Amidst pressure from the public and the fallout of the Ayawaso West Wuogon by-election, the Inspector General of Police only last week vowed no such vigilante groups would be tolerated. The NDC regional chair, Nana Kwesi Augustus, however, says the party will not be fooled by calls for the various political parties to disband their groups. He was speaking at the orientation of the newly elected Zongo caucus in Kumasi, from where Mohamed Nuruddin sent in this report.
Fair, because when they are in opposition, they told us that they don't believe that security. So they went out of the country and they brought experts to come and train their boys. Now they are in government, they are telling us that we should disband all the vigilante groups. And this we don't have, but we have boys that protect us. For now, what is going on, I don't have trust in them.
You don't have any trust?
For now, what is going on? Because what happened at Ayawaso, there was a police or an immigration officer when the incidents happened. He took his phone and walked out. So if this man is at a police station at election time, what is he going to do? So for now, Ashanti, we are planning what to do because we don't trust what is going on.
You're watching JoyNews Prime. We're taking a break, but still ahead in the bulletin, extractive sector civil society groups call for a review of the corporate governance structure at NPT as concerns grow about the impact of an ongoing turf war there on the state entity's international standing. We also have the very latest on the short commission proceedings. Do stay tuned. We'll be back in a bit. Now, the National Security SWAT commander who led operatives to the Ayawaso West Wogon constituency during the recent by-election has admitted they acted based on insufficient information. DSP Samuel Azugu told the commission on Monday, though they had originally set off on what he described as a confidence-building operation, they had to act on intelligence about the stockpiling of arms in the constituency. There's more in the following report.
The leader of the National Security SWAT team, DSP Samuel Azugu, was first asked to brief the commission on the competency of his men, especially the security operatives. He explained they had received training on how to wield arms, but not that of crowd control, which many analysts have faulted the team for.
Are they trained in crowd handling, for instance?
The nature of our operations are such that we don't do crowd management.
On what caused the assault of Ningo Prampram MP Sam George, the SWAT commander preferred to engage the commission in camera.
So, my lord, what that particular operative told me, I can give it to the commission in camera because it is in bad taste.
The commission granted his request. He then explained how his men came to fire 6 warning shots but faulted the way and manner they went about their arrests.
So they fired the warning shot. This made them to retreat and started to run helter-skelter. Some were able to run back into the compound where the gunshot was coming from. So they managed to, shrug off the security men, they decided to run, and the security men pounced on them. And that one, I agree that on that one, my boys overreacted when they were rearresting them.
The commander was confronted by a counsel to the commission on whether he could identify mask-wearing individuals captured in photos as his men. He admitted they were his men, but could not confirm whether they wielded arms or not.
Because it's black and white, and this one I can easily identify it, but this one I cannot ascertain. Not in that situation, my lord, per se.
On this particular operation, why were they masked?
I'm yet to get that information from
You didn't know?
I'm yet to.
He further told the commission his team had more than 20 gunshots from the house, but the commission had concerns as to why they failed to go into the building.
Between 20 and 30, but I can't put an exact number on it.
Okay. So it means that the intelligence which you had, that there was a stockpile of weapons in this location, was confirmed by the gunshots you heard within the compound, right?
My Lord, I believe so.
Wasn't that then your duty to make sure that you enter the house and retrieve the weapons?
My Lord, yes. But that's why I stated that reinforcement was called.
The commander admitted his men moved despite not having enough information.
Because from your own training, if they had told you that that was the house of the NDC candidate taking part in the elections that morning, you'd have done your planning differently, isn't it?
My Lord, depending on the situation.
From your experience, you would have exercised a little bit more caution, isn't it?
Yes, my Lord.
And if they said you are going to, if they had told you straight away, if they had not said you are going to do confidence building, and then later on you may have to do cordon and search. If they told you on Wednesday night that please plan for a cordon and search on this house, you'd probably send people to do some surveillance, isn't it?
Yes, my Lord.
The airport divisional commander, Chief Superintendent Isaac Asante, when he took his stand, told the commission it was perfectly normal for officers in a jurisdiction to be left out of an operation in their area, contradicting his district commander, DSP George Asari, who appeared before the commission on Friday. The PPP's National Secretary Murtala Mohammed was the commission's last witness for Monday. He had a different understanding of the cause of the violence that marred the by-election.
When we meet and talk during our funerals and our bars, we say it, the policeman will tell you, police for police attack. This, I'm telling you the truth. This is what we discuss when we are drinking.
You have been very frank, and I would say you did not speak as a politician. You spoke as a realist.
Thank you, my Lord.
If your party were to come into office tomorrow, would you be speaking this way?
I, Murtala Mohammed, if we don't, I will resign.
Hearing continues on Tuesday.
We're taking a break here on JoyNews Prime to bring you business news. And in business, Environmental Protection Agency orders shutdown of China Fujian fishing facility after investigations into mass death of tons of tilapia revealed regulatory breaches. Investigations in Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, KK Sapong, has accused the chairman of the board of directors, Freddie Blay, of interference in the running of the corporation. Mr. Blay, who's also the chairman of the governing New Patriotic Party, is, according to the chief executive, directed a finance officer at the corporation to headhunt a procurement officer while he, the CEO, was out of the country on official duties. The board chair has responded to the letter, a copy of which has been cited by JoyNews. There's more in the following report.
The letter from the CEO, KK Sapong, is pregnant with accusations. And at the heart of these is the board chairman Freddie Blay's directive to the chief finance officer to headhunt a procurement officer. The CEO says the directive was issued when he was out of the country. He said good corporate practice demands that any officer to be engaged by the corporation goes through a competitive interviewing session. Mr. KK Sapong says the board chairman's action flouts this rule. In the letter, KK Sapong writes, in line with good corporate governance practices, ordinarily, a board chairman's contact with an organization is through the chief executive, the board secretary, and the internal auditor. It is irregular for the board chairman to be dealing directly with subordinates of a chief executive other than those mentioned above on official matters. Some of your directives to my immediate subordinates pertaining to the award of contracts and engagement of personnel, as in the instant case, have been a source of concern to me, especially to the extent that laid down procedures are circumvented. These also go to undermine my legitimate authority as chief executive. You can always count on my corporation to accede to your requests once they are in line with the GMPC's rules, procedures, and acceptable practices. The board chairman, Freddie Blay, has written a 12-point response to the letter in which he states that the CEO is subject to the directives of the board. he does not find anything wrong with engaging the Chief Finance Officer to look for a procurement officer because the Chief Finance Officer is the senior designated to run the affairs of the corporation in the absence of the CEO. Mr. Blaze says his directives were only a board decision. He writes, I find the rest of your allegations about inferences, involvement in procurement, instructions to your subordinates, festering parallel authorities, etc., to be malicious, wicked, and spurious fabrications. If these ever occurred, it must be a figment of someone's imagination.
Well, civil society organizations in the extractive sector are calling for a review of the corporate governance structure of the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation amidst concerns about what they describe as an over-politicization of the state entity. They have been discussing the 2015-2016 mining, oil and gas, as well as the Ghana Commodity Trading Pilot Report in Kumasi. Prince Appiah engaged the Ghana Oil and Gas for Inclusive Growth, GOGIG, as well as the Ghana Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, GATI.
The GNPC was set up to lead the sustainable exploration, development, production and disposal of the petroleum resources of Ghana. The institution is bedeviled with political wrangling, the latest being administrative war between the chief executive and board chairman over hiring of a procurement manager. Co-chair for the Ghana Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, GATI, Dr. Steve Mantiao believes the development is dangerous for investors.
It looks like under this particular government, in fact, previous governments have also done the same, but it looks like the whole problem in terms of politicization of a national commercial entity as strategic as GNPC has been compounded under this government, to the extent that in some respects it appears to me that GNPC is being treated as an extension of the MPP bureaucracy. I think this sends wrong signals in terms of the expectation of the international community to depoliticize GNPC and allow it to operate as a purely commercial entity.
Dr. Mantiao fears government might use GNPC to facilitate quasi-fiscal expenditure in the 2020 election if the current feud is not addressed.
So my particular worry is that if Ghanaians are not careful in the 2020 elections, we'll see a lot of quasi-fiscal expenditures being undertaken by GNPC through its foundation, all ostensibly to influence the outcome of the 2020 elections. Then I'm worried that if you're not careful, Ghana will not reap the full benefits of its discovery of oil in commercial quantities. A lot of it will be squandered through GNPC and the abuses that we are seeing now.
Samuel Bequing is a technical consultant for Ghana Oil and Gas for Inclusive Growth, GOGIG. He believes the corporate governance structure of GNPC must be looked at again.
You can see that even sometimes the political capture in GNPC, which seems like it's quite becoming uncomfortable because of some of the information that have been going around about GNPC now. And what I suggest is that the government should take a real look. We should have a discussion on GNPC and look at what are the corporate governance measures that would help GNPC to actually build as a company which will be independent of government in the near future, in terms of even how we select people to GNPC employment, how they select people to work for GNPC, procurement in GNPC, whoever is held the standard operating procedures and diligence in GNPC.
GNPC is expected to be off government's subvention and produce oil and gas independently after 15 years from when Ghana struck oil in 2007. In the current situation, there are questions about whether GNPC is ready for this task. Prince Appiah reporting.
Civil society organizations are calling on the media to play active roles towards realizing SDG goals by 2030. According to the country director of Send Ghana, George Osebimpe, the achievement of SDG goals by 2030 will be unattainable if media practitioners fail to step up advocacy. He called on Ghanaian journalists to focus on SDG stories to help reach these goals. George Osei-Bimpe was speaking at the workshop for news reporters on sustainable development goals. Henry Kwesi Badu has more.
Broadcasting has the capacity to serve as a catalyst for citizen empowerment as well as spur a collective action and support for the SDGs. To equip journalists with knowledge on the SDGs, the National Development Planning Commission, in collaboration with CSOs, organized a media workshop. The workshop brought together media practitioners, civil society organizations, and representatives from various government agencies. Here's country manager for Send Ghana, George Osei-Bimpe.
How the media can link what they are doing at the moment to the SDGs, because everything that the media is doing is in one way or the other connected to the SDGs. But as it is the case, it is not coming out clearly in their reportage, and that is what we will seek to address. The second thing is the media is expected to create greater awareness on the SDGs. And the only way that they can do so is to understand the SDGs and make it, as simple as possible for, ordinary people to understand in their own languages, in their own context, and in their own perspectives, so that the citizens will be armed to make greater contribution to the implementation effort and to also hold duty bearers accountable.
Director of Strategic Environmental Unit of the Environmental Protection Agency, Dr. Christine Asari, says Ghana is on course to achieving SDGs by 2030 as planned.
I think Ghana is in a good position to achieve the SDGs. We have all our structures in place. It is part of our planning system now. It has been integrated into the work plan. Ministry of Finance has given funding for all the activities that are related to the SDGs. What happened was that with the budget, you had to prove that whatever activity a particular MDA was carrying out was linked to the budget. And as such, there are funds and there are activities. So as long as we follow that, I believe we're in a good position to achieve the SDGs.
Now, in a case of another wild goose chase, suspected kidnapper of 3 Takrady girls, Samuel Udo-Tegwills, led police and BNI officials in Accra to search for his supposed accomplice, Kwesi. The suspect was, however, unable to identify the house of the accomplice. Now, suspect Udo-Tegwills confessed in court last week he was not guilty of escape from police cells because he was assisted by one Kwesi and a CID officer to escape. Head of operations at the BNI headquarters, Lord Nyatewi, briefed the judge Monday morning in court. Meanwhile, a friend of the court, lawyer Ebo Donko, has asked the family of the kidnapped girls and residents in the Western region to be patient as the court decides on the current charge of escaping from lawful custody. Friend of the court, lawyer Eben Donko, spoke to correspondent Natalia Kwanzaa.
Offense or the accessory offense of jumping the bay or jumping lawful custody should be dealt with quickly, because so that we can go and deal with the settlement. But I also understand the court saying that it's not necessarily delaying. If you go to court, that when you come to court, the game is evidence, and evidence that has to do with the investigation. We are told that the police are still the investigation, so you can't say that they are delaying when the police has not completed the investigation. So they go hand in hand. All that, I think our focus should be on investigation. How well are the police progressing the investigation? How quality is the investigation? Because if you go to court that the necessary evidence, you are going to lose the case. There are standards required to prove the case. So I don't share the view that the case is delaying unless the investigation is delaying, because the court is ready. And as you heard the judge express his sentiment rightly, he's aware of the enmity and the gravity of the offense and the sensitivity of the offense we are dealing with, because this is a matter of public concern. And it can happen to anybody. So let's focus on investigation.
Now, one of the major challenges in construction, according to experts, is rising damp or moist in building caused by groundwater through the walls. Industry players have identified poor materials and bad handling as reasons for such defects. An indigenous Ghanaian company, Supreme Concrete Products, a subsidiary of DBS Industries, has developed a technology to address the challenge. Prince Apia's report is read to you.
The Ghana Institute of Architects says 80% of buildings in Ghana suffer damp. Northern Sector President Kofi Owusu says it is a major challenge, together with others affecting the building industry. He believes DBS has the solution.
The way people see buildings reacting nowadays, buildings going through cracks, walls having damp rising, paint peeling off, people have seen the evidence that there's something wrong with the materials that we are using. And of a truth, material quality is critical when it comes to the built environment. And we've seen that this is a company that's trying to address issues pertaining to the inception and the conception of the various building components. And we are very happy because we have seen that you don't just build to add quality. Quality must be impregnated into it. It's like a drug a pharmacist might want to produce. You don't just add quality to it, but the quality must be built in the process of making those components that are used in the built environment.
Mr. Owusu spoke during a visit to Supreme Concrete Product in Kumasi to introduce members to a new technology to address damp. Technical Director for DBS Industries, David Nyamiteria, explained the technology and how it works.
The dampness of the wall is a major problem now. You can see that most of the buildings are being damped. Yes. It's because of the capillary action, of water, the rising levels of water. And what we are doing is that we are introducing some special admix. It serves as a waterproof material. We are adding it to our product so that to prevent the water, that is the capillary action, from taking place. So when you use our concrete block or the concrete block, you will not have that problem of dampness. Yeah. So basically, that's what we are. If you have researched and come out with to solve that problem.
Members of the Ghana Institute of Architects were taken through the processes of manufacturing. David Nyamiteria said the mechanical ways of doing things in the built environment is key to addressing challenges in the industry.
If you want a class 50 or a class 40, your material should have a certain strength to give you that output. Okay, so if you don't test it, you can't get that class that you're looking for. Okay, but those outside, they don't test anything. Even the mix, the way they mix is done manually. It's not done mechanically. Ours is done mechanically. So mechanically will give you a better output. Once that you want to build, look for quality products. Consult to architects, look for quality products, and at the end of the day, you get something better.
Prince Apia's report for JoyNews.
Right, that'll be it for the bulletin. But up next is our hotline documentary. Do stay tuned for that. My name is Israel Lai. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good evening.
This is JoyNews Prime.